Folks, let me tell you, the cartoon fan base, while I am a part of it and I love cartoons and everything, I'll admit that there are some flaws. There are some really weird people who take things way too seriously. And I've already talked and gone through the mud about Mr. Enter. However, then there are his fans. Let me tell you, Mr. Enter fans are a strange bunch of weirdos. Let me tell you. Take everything wrong with Mr. Enter, take how he's overly sensitive, and multiply it by 1,000,000,000,000,000. That's not a real number, is it? Is it? I don't know. But lay some ground rules for this video. Number one, I'm not directly saying that these idiots are like all of the Enter fans. I have some friends who are just fans of Enter's videos, and I'm totally okay with that. If you're an Enter fan who just likes him, that's fine. But these people, these are the people who worship him, look up to him like he's some sort of animation god, and it's just ridiculous what they're saying. Like, they are some of the stupidest people I've ever come across on the internet, and that is saying a lot. So, without further ado, let's begin on this idiot quest. Ugh, I can smell the virginity from here. And this is coming from a virgin, by the way. I think we can all agree that Breadwinners is a pretty terrible Nick show. But it's not worth making a petition about, especially just for one episode. Well, this basement dweller who had nothing better to do with his time decided to make a petition to ban the Breadwinners episode Love Loaf. I'm not kidding. And look, he even uses the Mr. Enter video as his way of trying to convince people.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you're a pussy. But anyways, let's read this. Not all of it, but, you know. Disclaimer. The above video may contain a bit of inappropriate language. I did not make the above video. That's for damn sure. This episode does not deserve to have a G rating. Oh, really? No. Yeah, it doesn't deserve to have a G rating. G ratings go for movies. Breadwinners is a TV show. This show sends negative messages about forcing love on someone, and since when was it okay to include licking characters on a kid's show? Since Ren and Stimpy? It's even comparable to the infamous Ren and Stimpy's adult party cartoon. This episode really needs to get banned or cut all references to rape or What? What? Rape or pedophilia? Okay, this episode wouldn't have gotten made if it was referencing that, okay? It's a cartoon. Stop taking things so literally, okay? I've seen Love Loaf, okay? And while it did get a little on the iffy side, I can still look at it and say, okay, it's a cartoon. This doesn't really portray pedophilia or anything like that, like these idiots say it does. And it's comparable to Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon. I could compare Breadwinners to the original Ren and Stimpy just in terms of like the gross out humor they use, except Ren and Stimpy was actually funny. But adult party cartoon? No, it isn't. This show doesn't show porn. That show did. You're not even comparing shows for the same age group, okay? That is like if I said that Dan Versus was comparable to Dora the Explorer because they were both for kids and they both started with the letter D. It doesn't make sense. Well, comparing Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon to Breadwinners, well, they might both be owned by Viacom, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, you can't compare these. It's like comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruit, but other than that, they're pretty different. I really hope this episode gets banned. It's just stupid to see a rape joke approved and get past the storyboard session. Ever heard of the term innuendo? This episode needs to get banned/cut, or our generation will be taking a turn for the worst. Oh no! A cartoon is going to ruin a whole generation of people. Ah! I'm sure your grandparents said the same thing about rock and roll. And there were some bad rock and roll bands, and there are some bad cartoons. Breadwinners is a bad cartoon. But, this petition, this is stupid. You're wasting your time. Do you honestly think that some idiot is going to actually approve of this petition? Okay? No, you're wasting your breath. Or, not your breath. You're wasting your keyboards. When your computer dies, this is going to be one of the things that you did on it. Okay? Let's be honest. Technology isn't going to last forever. Let's do something useful while we have it. Letter to SVP Corporate Communications of Nick. I'm not reading this shit. Well, that was terrible. But we're not done yet. Oh, no. You won't believe it, but some idiots decided to make lists of the top 10 worst cartoon writers. I have one here. well, one at the top, and one right here, which mentions Zeus Servas. That doesn't sound biased towards Enter at all. Let's go with the first one first. That was redundant. I apologize. Okay, Zeus Servas. Okay, this one has 10 upvotes. What this guy said has 10 upvotes. So let's see what it said. This guy should honestly be writing horror movies, not kids shows. Why? The one main thing from the pre-movie SpongeBob episode Shanghai that he contributed was the Fly of Despair. And after every single bad episode of SpongeBob he has written, I have this to say. There is something seriously wrong with this man. Okay, first of all, you're saying there's something wrong with the man just because he wrote cartoons you don't like. Do you not realize how stupid that sounds? And second of all, what? You gave no reason as to why he should be a horror writer. Okay, all you did was that he did this in one episode. He just wrote something in one episode, okay? Kid shows can be disturbing, okay? They can't get too disturbing, but they can be disturbing. You people are so overly sensitive. You guys want every cartoon to have morals. You enter Fantards need to get a grip. So, just so I hope I don't piss off Mervyn Taylor girl, don't know who that is, I'll be nice enough not to make a death threat. Okay, why did you point that out, okay? Why would you even bother to make a death threat? Okay? Like, that shouldn't even be something you should point out. That's kind of weird that you even had to point that out. I mean, the post-sequel SpongeBob episodes are a bit better now, but the main villain behind the Dark Ages was Zeus Servas. Okay, how? All we want him to do is get fired and not use his ideas for horror movies on kids' shows. Okay, first time I checked, and last time I checked, Zeus Servas has no association with horror movies. I don't know what you and this other idiot were saying, but all we want for him is to get fired. You're like this other idiot. You're not giving any reasons why. All we want for him is... So, there you have it. No, I don't have it. I have no idea why he's so bad. You're not explaining. I won't say any death threats. I will just say I loathe him. Again, because he made cartoon episodes you don't like. If you want to see something with better writing, I highly recommend Sword Art Online. I'm just gonna end it there. Jesus Christ, I hate Zeus Servas. Let me explain. He wrote One Course Meal, Face Freeze, A Pal for Gary. Blah, blah, blah. He's the episode of Dark Humor and... He just ends it like that. He is the epitome of dark humor. And this is a joke. Let me explain. All you did was list off cartoon episodes you don't like. That's not explaining. You're just listing off episodes. And he's the epitome of dark humor? Dude, kid shows can have dark humor. Again, Ren and Stimpy. Again, old SpongeBob had dark humor. Kid shows can get away with being a little gruesome and a little dark. You idiots... Everything has to be in La La Land. He's pretty messed up. He's a cartoon writer, okay? None of you guys know anything about this guy's personality. All he did was write some SpongeBob episodes that are admittedly pretty bad, but that doesn't make him anything less of a person, okay? He's not intending to offend anyone, I'm sure of it. He just wrote some bad episodes. And while that is his fault, you guys are way overreacting, okay? You guys are treating him like he's the spawn of Satan when he really isn't, okay? I'll admit I'm not a big fan of his work, but you guys are being ridiculous. I have nothing against him as a person, just I don't like his writing. But you guys are saying that you have something against him as a person. Again, there's something seriously wrong with this man. I loathe him. He's pretty messed up. You guys are idiots. You guys are the ones who are messed up. Number 2, Doug Lawrence. Don't forget SpongeBob, you're fired. He seems to be the only person who holds it together. Didn't Mr. Enter use that exact same quote, he holds the writers together? Very suspicious. He's not bad. He wrote as good episodes as bad ones. At least he should be lower than Casey. The fact that you guys are debating who should be... You're debating about real people here. You're debating about real people. He wasn't the head writer for episodes like Little Yellow Book and SpongeBob, You're Fired. He pretty much holds the so-called writers together. Still sounds familiar. I swear Enter used that quote. Oy, oy, oy. Casey Alexander. We are in for a ride, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to go through the ones past this one because, well, I think by the time we get through with Casey, we've seen enough. Casey Alexander is the worst I've ever seen for a few reasons. He wrote all these episodes, which you're not explaining any reason why they're bad, or anything why he's a bad writer. You're just listing off the bad episodes he wrote. That doesn't make your point across. Sorry, dude. You're not giving actual evidence or proof. He wrote for one of the worst shows ever in history, Uncle Grandpa. Why is Uncle Grandpa one of the worst shows in history? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know people who don't like Uncle Grandpa. I personally think it's a fun show. But you still have to give reasons why. I mean, I'm not giving any reasons why I like Uncle Grandpa because, well, then that'd be a review of the show. I don't want to turn this video into a review of Uncle Grandpa, but you have to give reasons on why you don't like the new SpongeBob. And no, you can't just list the episodes. And why you don't like Uncle Grandpa and why you think Casey Alexander contributed to these. And why you think Casey Alexander made SpongeBob and Uncle Grandpa what they were. You're not explaining anything. Finally, a person with common sense. Finally. Dear Casey Alexander, anti-Casey Alexander jerks. He's not a bad person. True, he helped with one-course meal, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't mean he's evil. Yes. Oh, finally someone being rational. Again, he's listing his thoughts on the episode, and he's listing why he didn't like them, and why he doesn't agree with them. But he's giving a compromise. He's saying he's not a bad person, he just didn't like his writing. Okay? This guy, you know, this is good, okay? This is probably a good Enter fan, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if this guy likes Enter, but like I said, that's not a bad thing. It's bad when you use him as like the Lord of Animation, and where you Fantards look up to him and just basically say everything he says, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure Mr. Enter has covered every single one of these episodes in some way, shape, or form, or at least almost every one of them. Once again, very suspicious. It sounds like, I don't know, I've been reading all of these in my head in Enter's voice, because it appears that all of you guys are copying and pasting except for this dude. My salute to him. Mervyn Taylor. Let's read some more about Casey. There's 24 comments. He's very self-absorbed about his work. He says that one-course meal was a way to show that Plankton was giving up on life, but in a silly way. That's not being self-absorbed. That's just his motives for writing the episode, okay? See, you idiots? He's not trying to convince that he believes in suicide or that suicide is funny. He just wants to make jokes out of it. Okay? You just completely destroyed any arguments you guys have. And no, he's not self-absorbed. He just likes what he wrote. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that either. Anyone who defends suicide as jokes, he's not! He's just making jokes about it. People make jokes about World War II and 9/11, but suicide? Oh no. Ugh, you guys make no sense. I wrote the list and I want this guy to be higher. A lot higher. BD Cool 3. These people. He said that making jokes about murder and suicide on a kid's show is funny. It can be funny. Ren and Stimpy did it, and it was funny. Okay? And yeah, they can be funny. It's called dark humor. It's just you can't go too overboard with it. And in my opinion, he did go overboard a couple times, but most of the time he didn't. Okay? It's okay to not like what he wrote, but you guys are over-exaggerating so terribly. The episodes this brutal idiot is criticized heavily, and yet he writes more bad episodes of SpongeBob. It's like he doesn't even care about criticism. Not from you retards. You guys are huge douchebags to the writers. Enter is a stupid person who knows nothing about... Boom! Boom shakalaka. This guy gets a like. That other guy's gonna get a like too. Mervyn Taylor. Hang on. Yes. 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 See, these guys, they know what they're talking about. But you idiots don't. None of you. All of this. All of this is crap. Crap, crap, crap. Well, I think we've seen enough. I'm sure there are many more cases of Enter Fantards acting out, but these are, in my opinion, the most infamous examples. I could go through YouTube comments, But I think that should be a separate video entirely. Tell me if you guys want to see that. I'll definitely do one. I definitely have enough people to do. Like, for example, Alicia D. Seriously, Alicia D. Future soccer mom in the making. I have a lot to say about her. But anyways, enter Fantards. They are the reason why the cartoon fandom is the way it is. And they're the reason why people like Clay Claymore stereotype it the way they do. It's all linked to Enter and his Fantards. And I'll point this out once again. Just because you're a fan of Enter doesn't make you a Fantard. It's just when you pull stupid crap like these idiots. Well, it happened. I got 100 subscribers on YouTube. Pretty crazy, but it happened. I'm just as shocked as all of you because, well, the reason it took over 2 years is because a lot of my YouTube videos are just garbage. But, especially a lot of my older ones. I've improved greatly since then. But, yeah. So, today's rant is going to be one that I've been planning to do I've been planning to do this cartoon, a rant on this one, for a long time. And no, it's not regular show because I don't want to talk about that show. I don't want my 100 subscribers video to get a ton of dislikes. So today I'm going to talk about another show currently airing on Cartoon Network that I despise. I'm going to be ranting on Sonic Boom. Not that piece of crap Wii U game, and not that mildly average 3DS game. The Cartoon Network TV show. Oh boy. Ooh. Well, I'm just going to, cut to a different image and, I'll begin the rant. I'm going to get a lot of controversy for this. Maybe not as much as doing a rant on regular show, but I got less than 9 minutes. I'm using a really crappy web recorder, so let's begin. Where to begin? Where to begin? I'm just going to talk about, before I get to the main issue I have with this show, I'm just going to talk about the animation. It's horrible. The CGI in this show is just really bad. I have no problem with the show being in CG. Alright, since it's Sonic the Hedgehog, it's based off of a video game, I can totally see why this show would be in CG. But here's the problem I do have with it. The animation is cheap looking. It is really cheap looking. It looks really, really bad. Like, in my opinion, it looks like it was made over a decade ago. And if it wasn't in HD, it would still look like it was made over a decade ago, even if it was in HD, because I'm pretty sure in 2005, they might not have had HDMI, but they had 480p or something. But, anyways, yeah, this show looks bad, really bad. But, that's the least of our worries here. Let's talk about the storylines. They follow a very, very cookie-cutter concept. A lot of the episodes just have extremely similar storylines. Here's the storyline for a bunch of episodes, I guarantee you. Sonic and the gang find Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman is doing something seemingly harmless, so they don't really care. However, by the middle or near the end of the episode, they start to realize that Dr. Eggman is doing something bad. And so, Sonic has to outwit him and bash him and boom him and bam, 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 bam. Dr. Eggman says, "I'll be back!" And he is, but he doesn't learn his lessons. And, yeah, and they just sort of yuck it up at the end. The Sonic and his friends. Yeah, that's basically the plotline for this show. Dr. Eggman does something seemingly harmless. Sonic and his friends believe it because they have no character development throughout this series. And, then they realize that he is doing something bad, and then they defeat him. And, yeah. It's just the same thing over and over again. Now, granted, there are episodes where they do something different, and I suppose those are better, but the writing in this show is just really unfunny most of the time. I might have laughed a couple times, but yeah, it's just really unfunny. And yeah, I know the show does have a lot of action in it, so comedy isn't the main focus, but the creators said, no, it is the main focus. The creators have said that this is mostly a comedy-driven show with some action in it. So yeah, that's what they're going for here. Comedy, and it's not funny. I mean, but that's not even the main issue I have with this show. The main issue I have with the show is the characters are bland. Bland, bland, bland. Alright, so here's why the characters are bland. Sonic is the team leader. He's strong and heroic and not much else. Tails is the science geek. He can handle weapons, planes, and he doesn't do much else. Knuckles is the strong idiot. He's not that big in the head, but in the muscles he sure is strong, and that's pretty much it. Styx the Badger is a new character, and she's crazy and wild, and that's about it. Amy is the girl-powered girl of the group, even though Styx is a girl, but Amy's the girl-powered group, and she's heroic like Sonic, and she's a girl, and that's pretty much it. Dr. Eggman is the goofy, evil genius guy, and he's really goofy, and that's pretty much it. See where I'm going with that? They just have the most stereotypical, cookie-cutter, generic character personalities you could ever think of, and nothing else. They are the bare-bones characters. They are the most basic characters you could ever think of for a TV show, and they are not at all interesting. And for a TV show, if your characters are not interesting, it will crash and burn into a sonic boom. No pun intended. Anyways, yeah, but I just described all these characters. That's it. There's nothing else to them. Nothing. I mean, it's insane. And no, the secondary characters, like the townspeople, Dr. Eggman has these weird robot henchmen, these two weird, I forgot their names. No, none of them are interesting too. You know, none of them, just none. It's horrible, and that's why this show fails. If you have interesting characters, you will not be able to tell any interesting stories, even though the stories in this show are already cliched. The stories in this show are already cliched, but, you know, the uninteresting characters, that just ruins it. So, yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with Sonic Boom. The characters are just so basic. Oh my gosh, I don't see how anyone can relate to these characters or become attached to them. I mean, it's pathetic. It really is. But yeah, apparently this show actually does well in ratings. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, not only does it have uninteresting characters, horrible animation, generic stories, you know, it airs at 7:30 on Saturday mornings with barely any advertising, and it just doesn't. I don't see how the show even does well. No, actually I do, now that I think of it. Brand recognition. Kids just say, "Oh, Sonic!" and just watch it anyways. You know, and that would be fine if they actually put quality into the show, but they don't, so kids are just forced to watch this mediocre tripe. It's horrible. What happened to the show. I actually wanted to like this show. This show actually did have a very strong premise, but no, they just wasted it. I mean, this show could have been good. It really could have, but it wasn't. And that really is a shame. But whatever. I guess it's probably going to get a second season and just be like Johnny Test, where it's cheap to make, and so they keep making more episodes. Even though nobody wants it, except, I don't know, for kids for some reason, but whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed this 100,000 subscribers video, and I'll be sure to be doing more rants. Take care. Don't watch Sonic Boom.
Greetings, YouTube. Me again, KaBlamBandicoot64 here. Sorry if my voice sounds a little nasalier than usual. I've been hit with the cold bug. Let's talk for a minute before we get to today's topic. The reason I deleted these commentary community president videos is because they were not well received, and not in the way I was intending. You see, I knew that some people wouldn't like them, but the point of them was to be satirical, like sort of parodies, particularly of Donald Trump, but more so just the 2016 election in general, especially on Trump's side of things. Not that I have anything necessarily against him, although I would never vote for him, But even I think his supporters can agree that he is pretty funny, and you can make fun of him in that regard, and it's pretty funny to do so. But not getting too political here, the commentary videos, they were not well received in regards that some people took them more seriously than I wanted them to, and other people just didn't find them that funny. And so I figured, why waste my time making videos when they're just going to be not well received for the reasons I don't want them to be. I'm okay with a video getting negative reception if it's the negative reception I would be expecting, but it got negative reception that I wasn't expecting. I didn't think so many people would take it seriously, and I didn't think so many people wouldn't find it funny. So that's a little bit about that, and I will not make another one. I'm not going to make any Twitter election thing, as I promised, because it was just a joke. But anyways, let's get into today's topic. So today we're going to talk about a guy named PhantomStrider. Now, I have a bone to pick with him. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. I'm not trying to go out of my way to insult him as I say this. But his channel is the most unoriginal, clickbaity, and varietyless channel in the cartoon community on YouTube. It is. I mean, all of his videos, top 10 best, top 10 worst, top 10 blah 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 blah, just like WatchMojo, and they're so clickbaity, and that's why they get views that are often in the thousands or even millions. It's ridiculous. He's unoriginal, and I think his video style needs a major overhaul. And to do this, we're going to look at a recent video of his called the top 10 worst, or top 5 I should say, worst American cartoons. Yeah, he's resorted to doing top 10 worst videos of cartoons by what country they were from. Yeah, did I mention this guy's unoriginal? And he's also idealist and varietyless. Again, I'm not trying to insult him, I'm telling him how it is. So, let's begin the commentary.
Howdy, this is PhantomStrider. It's time to check out some cartoons from the good old USA, home of Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney. And while America definitely has a good portion of the best cartoons of all time, they also have a good portion of the worst cartoons of all time.
Well, maybe that's because America is a huge country, both geographically and population-wise. So of course you're going to get a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. I don't think it's worth pointing that out because most of us already know that.
So that means it's time once again to delve into some of the worst cartoons of all time.
That sentence alone pretty much summed up his entire channel.
12-ounce mouse. 12-ounce mouse is probably the laziest side of Adult Swim I've ever seen. There's little to say about this cartoon, and I use that term very loosely.
It's okay not to like 12-ounce mouse, but by definition it is a cartoon. Sure, the animation may be terrible, although it's terrible on purpose, and I do think you should cut it some slack for that. But to say it's barely a cartoon isn't true. The characters move, and it is moving pictures, therefore, by definition, it is animation, and since it was aired on television, it is by definition a cartoon.
Feels like a bunch of stoners crayoned together a bunch of pictures, then paid $10 to some teenager to splice it together in a video editor.
And that's pretty much all he has to say about it. He goes on and rambles about how 12-ounce mouth has shitty animation while not describing much else about the show and why it is apparently so bad it deserves to be one of the worst cartoons the country has ever produced. Well, maybe number 5 will be more noteworthy.
Mega Babies.
Wrong. Although it was created by Americans, Mega Babies was actually produced in Canada, therefore making it in a Canadian cartoon that was simply made by Americans. It was voiced in Canada, it was animated in Canada, and I believe that it was written and produced in Canada. Therefore, it is a Canadian cartoon that simply had creators that were born in America. Therefore, it is not an American cartoon. Next.
Number 4. Breadwinners. Is there possibly a more brainless cartoon in existence? This cartoon is just a hyperactive splooge of screaming ducks and loud colours. Out of all the American cartoons I can think of, hell, all the cartoons, I couldn't think of a cartoon that just annoyed me more.
Then why is it only at number 4? If you're saying that it's the most annoying cartoon you've ever seen, and the most brainless, I should say, then why is it only at number 4? It's pretty obvious you have an immense hatred for this show, considering you've put it on at least 3 other lists. So I think you should either stop talking about it, or at least talking about it as much, or decide on just how much you hate it. Because right now, it only sounds like you're putting it on this list to please the immense hatred that the cartoon community has for breadwinners, which is the main problem I have with his channel overall. Pretty much all of his videos just appeal to those raging cartoon nerds who hate on cartoons every day and hate on the same cartoons every day. That's pretty much all his channel appeals to. Hence why his videos are so clickbaity, and hence why most of them are top 10 worst, or sometimes top 10 bests. And I'm sorry to say, but that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. His videos appeal to the lowest common denominator, and they pretty much just appeal to those insane cartoon nerds who have hatred for every single bad cartoon, and have immense hatred for all of those bad cartoons. I would end the video here, but I do want to discuss his number 1 pick, because I do have to bring up something wrong with it.
American cartoon is Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon. Ren Seeks Help. While all of Adult Party Cartoon was bad, I mean garbage beyond redemption,
that means that Adult Party Cartoon itself should be the worst American cartoon of all time. Not just one episode of it. Sure, it might be the worst episode in your opinion, but to put an episode as the worst American cartoon of all time just seems kind of like a cop-out, sort of a cover-up to maybe if you haven't seen all of the actual show, which is kind of pathetic because there are only 6 episodes. I'm not saying you haven't, but what I am saying is maybe you should put down the whole show instead of just one episode, because let's face it, a lot of people who say that they hate Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, Ren Seeks Help is the only episode that they've seen, because most of them are generally very simple-minded and just go with whatever the media says. And I have a feeling that that's what you're trying to do, because your videos just appeal to all the cartoon nerds. Hence why I just call you the WatchMojo of the animation and cartoon community.
this one episode was enough to qualify it for the worst cartoon of all time. This cartoon is rotten, with no saving grace whatsoever. Basing your cartoon on a remorseless criminal psychopath who has taken joy in the suffering of others since the day he was born.
What I'm getting from that is that basically if your cartoon has mean main characters, that automatically makes it bad, which is unfortunately a stereotype that a lot of the cartoon community on YouTube seems to have. Not everybody, but a good portion. Again, it sounds like you're trying to appeal to those insane cartoon nerds.
This cartoon crosses the line, jumps the line, flies the line between artistically dark to rotten beyond all contempt. The biggest question to Ren Seeks Help is, what mind could find this funny?
People who like mean-spirited humor, such as myself. Ren Seeks Help isn't perfect, but I do admit I personally got a couple laughs out of it. And the way you said that means if you like Ren Seeks Help, or if you found any humor in it, you're pretty much a psychopath.
Built like a horror. Not a comedy, not even a cartoon, a horror. Ren Seeks Help is like watching a disturbing tragedy that is very close to unwatchable. What does this give back to the viewer? It just has no purpose, no artistic value whatsoever. This cartoon crosses the line, jumps the line, flies the line between artistically dark to rotten beyond all contempt.
If it has no artistic value whatsoever, then why did you previously say that it crosses the line between something horrific and something that is artistic, indicating that it does have some artistic qualities?
The plus is the animation's okay, the story's coherent, kind of. But this cartoon is rotten, with no saving grace whatsoever.
If it has no saving grace whatsoever, then why did you just give it 2 potential saving graces? That's what I mean. He just finds insane nitpicks to take out of this cartoon just to please all the Ren Seeks Help haters, because for some reason that cartoon has an immense amount of hatred for it. Granted, it might be bad, but I think enough is enough. Your opinion isn't the problem. It's just the way that you... I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but it just feels like with all of this guy's videos and all of his content, he just tries to appeal to the cartoon community that is overly sensitive, hates everything mean-spirited, and just the lowest common denominator and worst stereotypes of the cartoon community on YouTube. And I think his number one choice of Ren and Stimpy and the things he has to say about it, or Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, I should say, exemplifies this.